It is not often you meet an out-of-the-box thinker like Donna Boyle. Her understanding of expanded oneness is so refreshing. I quote, "There is so much more in front of us than what we can actually see. Are you looking? Are you listening? Are you feeling? Belief is the faith in something more than you know right now. The veil, what we perceived as a veil, between the worlds has disintegrated. It really never was there. Spirit and all your loved ones are right beside you and will speak if you are open to receive. We are souls having a human experience, expanding our belief of oneness." Donna Boyle is a direct messenger for spirit, physical and mental medium, podcaster, author, and teacher of yoga, meditation, and consciousness. Donna's connection to souls in the non-human dimensions have given her spiritual freedom and deepened by her own spiritual practice. She currently works as a clear conscious channel for spirit, giving private and group readings and teaching online intuitive and mediumship development classes. Donna believes there is a need for a new paradigm, a new way of expressing how things work in the spirit realm and how we speak about concepts. Our vibration is either high or low, and as spirits, we are in one dimension, continually expanding. Her understanding is there is no duality, only expansion. Initiations occur throughout the expansion of all of our experiences. Past lives are not regressed, they are expressed. Your soul story that comes to you in pieces when you need to remember something. All of what is called higher versions of self are actually pieces of your soul existing in one big, infinite expanse, and as such, part of your ongoing guidance, expansion, and growth. Her passion this lifetime is to support the current shift of soul consciousness. Mostly recently, Spirit has begun to connect with Donna through recorded voice. She calls this process Spirit Voice Eclipse, also known as EVPs. Her book, I Am Vessel and Verse, and the universe wants you to remember, inspiration and intention from the world of spirit can be found on Amazon. Her writings influenced by the musings of spirit. Donna's award-winning podcast, Linking to the Afterlife, can be found everywhere. It is currently listed as one of the top 60 podcasts on the afterlife to listen to in 2024 on FeedSpot. Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Got a little technical difficulties on that, but hey, I got through it. No doubt about it. Welcome, everyone, to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have an enlightening show for you, and we'll be speaking with our guest about expanding our belief of oneness with Donna Boyle. Such a pleasure to have you, Donna. Before we get started, thank you. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, let everybody know. YouTube loves the algorithms, and we love the attention as well. Welcome new subscribers, especially Donna Boyle's subscribers and all the new people that have joined us in the past couple of weeks. We really greatly appreciate you all very much. Now let's welcome our panel and greet our chat room participants. Well, everyone, you know Sophia Rasmussen, our panelists.
Witchy boo.
And Teresa D'Anton. I love that, witchy boo. That's you. And of course, Donna Boyle. It is such a pleasure to have you with us. Real quick, let's go ahead and just acknowledge chat. I see Julianne Margaret. Good to see you, Jules. Always a pleasure. Hi, Chloe. I see you're having a little bit of an issue today with triggers. Welcome to the club. I did too. Yeah, I had to do some breathing on that one, but I got past it. It's all good now. Hi, Scotty Boy. Welcome. Welcome, Scotty Boy. It happens to the best of us. Mary Wynn's always a pleasure. Hey, Grandpa Brian. Good to see you. Yep. And let's see who else we have. Looks like that's who we have for the moment.
And we have
Wonderful.
Charles Caplatos in here too. Rev Charles.
I've got duplicates on everything, so it takes me a little bit. I don't see, Grumpy Stack,
Yeah.
I see you as well. True Seeker, good to see you. Yeah, I'm missing half my screen here. Wow, it's one of those nights. Hi, Charles. Always a pleasure to have you on. Love your comments and questions. Yes, this is exciting. Teresa,
Grumpster.
I'm going to send it to you to introduce Donna.
All right. Dougster's here. Hi, Doug. Squirrel Buddy. Good to see you all. Happy Friday, everyone. And greetings to Donna's followers as well that will be watching and tuning in. We enjoy meeting you, and we hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Well, I'll tell you, Lori and I have been following Donna for a while now, and I've been interacting with Donna on her EVPs when she's sharing her posts. And a lot of the things that she covers on her posts, aside from the EVPs, is she shares a great deal of synchronicity with us and the kind of messages that we put out on our channel. So we just thought it was a good connection to have. And so we really appreciate you taking your time and energy being here with us tonight, don't we? We really do.
We know it's late for you too. Sorry we had to cut into your sleep time.
We know it's late for you, so we appreciate your effort in coming in. But one of the things that I thought was fascinating when I started listening to Donna's sharing her communications with spirit, so many of us communicate in different ways with spirit. We're all slightly different on how we go about it. And we like to share our experiences because there's no right way or wrong way. It's just whatever your experience is, right, Sophia? So we're all a little different. And but what got me, Sophia, it's Rev Charles is in here too. The parapsychologists and spiritualists, ghost hunters, have an ongoing interest in using devices like spirit boxes and EVP recording devices to help prove, that's how they started, to help prove that there was an afterlife and that there was something out there that's still trying to communicate. So they were looking at it as a form of evidence for the continuation of life, right? I was one of those people out there. I'm sure, I don't know, Sophia too, doing paranormal investigating. But so usually it was like a brief word. When we first started all this, I was talking to Donna about this the other day. We've evolved our technology, and the spirit world has learned how to communicate with us, manipulating these energy frequencies in these devices. And so now we're getting full sentences and phrases and freaking conversations with these spirits. And so it turns out they're around us all the time. But one of the things that blew me away was that there's a association, an informal survey that was completed by the National Spiritual Association of Churches, has their own department of phenomenal evidence. And they conducted a survey citing now that over 1/3 of the spiritualist churches and mediums conduct sessions with participants seeking to communicate with spirit entities using both the medium and some type of electronic voice recording technology. And that blew me away. And it shouldn't have, because I had sat down in paranormal investigations with Chip Coffey when he was doing investigations with us, the public investigations with Adam and Amy from Kindred Spirits. And Chip listens to the EVPs too. And he doesn't need to, believe me. Chip is spot on with his readings and communications with all kinds of spirits. But he was involved in that technology. So it shouldn't have come to a surprise to me that the spiritualists are now taking advantage of some of that technology. And it's what they're doing with it. And what Donna is doing with it is very unique. It's separate from a paranormal investigation. They're actually sitting with clients, doing the psychic readings or channeling a spirit communication and playing back other things that spirit may have said on voice recording. And then they can go back and analyze that and then take it back to the client and say, look, this is what came through. And sometimes they're just going off about something, aren't they, Donna? And it's like you don't expect it. So we're going to get to hear some of that tonight. And so we're very excited to share this time with Donna. Also, Donna is very different in how she has a philosophy, if you will, a new paradigm shift in the way in which she perceives energy and the spirit realm. And we're going to hear about that tonight because I kind of agree, and Lori kind of agrees with her. We're in sync with her about it's time for a new way to describe, based on our evolution, to understand what consciousness really is and how the spirit realm is really operating. And so to us, it made a lot of sense. And we're going to hear some of that from Donna tonight as well. So I'll turn it back over to Lori and Donna, and Lori's going to lead us through.
Yeah, it was curious when we first met, Donna, and we were kind of chatting on StreamYard, and we were getting to know each other. And you came with this expanding our belief of oneness. And when you use the analogy, when a plant grows, it expands and contracts. It doesn't just, grow up and just down, but it expands. And that really got me thinking about what we really are doing. And that is exactly it. We're expanding, but I never heard anybody put it in those terms before. And it made so much sense. How did you come into play with that? What made you realize that it was really about expansion? I know you've got a tenure of being a mediumship, and I know you don't like to use the word psychic. And I found that fascinating as well, because a medium really is someone who is in the middle. They're bringing it in from spirit. They're interpreting, they're helping the client or the person you're working with, allows them to understand what spirit is verbalizing. So mediumship really covers that. But how did you get that expanding oneness concept?
Thank you.
Did that
first of all. Yeah. Thanks for everybody for joining. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the opening. I wish there was a simple answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it was an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to, first of all, discount. I'm older now, and I've been on this journey for 40 years. So I don't want to discount. Before social media, there were a lot of people talking about what I'm talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
It just couldn't get out there any other way, but let's have a local group. Let's get together at the church. It just feels now the expansion can truly happen vibrationally in addition to literally expanding on social media. And I remember some guy that I knew back in Virginia, he wrote a book on words that we shouldn't use anymore, that are vibrationally lower or higher. So we know these things. These things have been said before. However, did we combine it with how it feels in our soul, how it feels to our soul by using old paradigm words versus new paradigm words?
Because words have meaning. Words have meaning.
Have a lot of meanings, and words have vibration.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these are human things. You're going to hear me say that a lot tonight. Humanness versus soulness. So these are all things that we made up. We made up these words. Spirit didn't say use this to describe what I'm doing. We made up these words from the beginning of time. Words were human, not soul.
Right.
Even when I was questioning, I didn't like the word medium. I knew there was another word for medium. This was 10 years ago, and I was sitting on the floor of my bedroom doing some yoga, and I was looking at my phone, and because you can do two things at once when you're doing yoga. And I'm scrolling through my direct messages on Instagram or something. Spirit said, that's what you are. And I said, what is what I am? They're like, you're a direct messenger for us. I said, oh, I love that. So I added direct messenger for spirit.
Spirit's verbiage.
Spirit told me to say that. So they didn't say it, but they made me look were my direct messages and they came in. So a lot of my work prior to first seeing spirit just happened. Things just happened. I never asked to become a medium. I never thought of hearing EVPs or spirit voices. Never had a thought. Never had a thought. Never even wanted to write a book until a medium told me, you need to write that book. However, Spirit never said it was going to get published. And Spirit never said it was going to be bought. It just said, write the book. So you see how even those things allow me to be more present with the frustrations of day-to-day human life. How do I get my book out there? Why aren't more people buying it? And I'll be like, well, Spirit's got it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm doing what I need to do in every moment. So back to words that I used to use and words that I didn't even like to use. That's what I called old paradigm. But it took me sometimes years to figure out what word I needed to replace the word that I never used. And I just did my podcast episode in 2 weeks. It's going to be about karma versus credit. I never used the word karma. Didn't like the word karma. Didn't like the meaning that people were putting to the word karma until I figured out now what the new word is. It's credit from past lives, not karma from past lives.
Oh, I like that.
Credit. So I
It
explained
holds
that in
more
an
meaning.
upcoming episode. It holds a lot more meaning, and we're not putting good, bad, right, or wrong. We're not putting
Positive, negative.
higher. I don't like any of those words either.
Right. Fascinating. Now, you've got some interesting guides. One of them is Abraham Lincoln. Another is John F. Kennedy. Cochise as well. I thought that was fascinating. And Cabrini. Is it Mother Cabrini? Is that Francis Javier Cabrini?
Yes.
Okay.
Francis Cabrini. Yes.
Fascinating.
Abraham Lincoln, when I first started doing readings, he came into my head and I'm talking to a client and I'm new to all this. So I'm just playing with all my friends and their friends at this point. So I start talking like, do you feel this? Do you feel this? And I'm explaining what I think I know about Abraham Lincoln, but I know nothing about Abraham Lincoln. Nothing. She said, you could be talking to Abraham Lincoln, Donna. And I'm like, she's telling me this. And I'm like, okay. She said that she always had like a lot of similarities between their lives. So I assumed he was just coming for her. But then he kept showing up. He kept showing up in my daily life. I kept seeing signs from him. Okay, I guess you're mine. And then I just added him with Jerry Hicks. And then JFK didn't pop in till about 2017, 2018. Just came through in the middle of the night, started talking to me. And again, knew nothing about him, but I saw him. And then when I woke up, I immediately Googled what the day was, and it happened to be the anniversary of his passing. Wow. And that was my proof. Yeah. So I was always about proof in the beginning. You got to give me some proof, Spirit, because I'm all by myself here.
Yeah. Not just validation, but proof. Positive. Yeah. So that
it's
you
okay
know
to ask for proof. It's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I want proof as well. Yeah, because discernment is everything. You don't want to be, speaking about something and not have there be proof of what you're telling someone. Yeah. Sophia, do you deal with that? The proof thing? Do you ensure that your source is accurate, where the information you receive? Sophia is a medium as well.
I trust my gatekeeper and step away and let spirit work. So I don't really have to question the information. I mean, the medium's always in control, true enough. But I just get out of the way. I haven't really had any problems now that the the anger and the angst when I was younger is in check, that and the unconditional love is in play. So natural law and everything that has to do with that, working with something higher than myself. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. How about you,
That's
Teresa?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Teresa, do you trust what you get as well? I mean, do you firmly like accept what you get?
I do now. It took a while.
Mm-hmm.
It took a while for me to trust my own understanding and my own receptivity, because I couldn't grasp the fact that I wasn't making it up in my own mind. I kept going back to that mind over matter and that we create, and this is all an illusion that we've created. And now I know, because too many things have come to my attention when communicating with them that nobody would know that. So when I see mediums like you three, and now myself a little bit, actually getting that information and repeating it back to me that only something in my family would know,
Hmm.
that I've never posted on Facebook anywhere or talked with anybody about, details like the apron my mother wore in the kitchen. It's the little It's the little things.
Mm-hmm.
See, we don't. We when we're first trying this, we have a tendency not to really listen. But when we really listen, it's the little things that add up, and you go, "Oh, wow!" I was blown away by it, and I still am. I
Hmm.
still get blown away by it. Yeah,
Tumbling.
yeah, and it's just trusting the message, and it's hard to do because we like to be in control. And when something
Mm-hmm.
else is coming at us and we can't explain it with natural science in this physical reality that we're so taught to believe in everything,
Mm-hmm.
we go
Trust
back
is
to,
yeah, that trust is really earned. And not only did I have to earn it with my guides, but they had to earn it with me as well.
That's
So
right.
it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
symbiotic relationship.
Hmm.
And once you've earned their trust, they just will never turn their back on you. And I would never turn my back on them. I'll
no,
do everything I can to get those messages out. Wouldn't you
there
agree,
is one.
Donna? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest lessons I teach. Everything you just said, that's what students come to me. That's their biggest gripe. How do I know it's not
Mm-hmm.
me? How do I trust it? And I said, my two biggest phrases they taught me in the spiritualist church when I was doing seminary there: leave no room for doubt
Yeah,
and give what you get.
There it
You
is.
may have no idea what you said
Hmm.
because it's just coming out of your mouth, but you have to do the work. Here's what expanding into oneness means: you have to do the work. Whatever comes up in you is a part of you. So you can't push it down. You can't push it away. Believe me, I've tried for 50 years to push down the crap that was going on in my life
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
until I allowed it to come in.
yeah,
Whether it was fear, anger, sadness, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you need. Tell me, because I don't want to hurt anymore in that way. I want it
Mm-hmm.
to come up. I don't want to bury it a bunch up over an abundance. I just had something come up that happened 30 years ago that I didn't know I was still dealing with now. So as you release more layers, more comes up. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
just the nature of the beast,
Mm-hmm.
even at my age. But I deal with it now in healthier ways.
yeah.
I trust spirit's going to show me what to do and how to do it.
Yes, yes.
And spirit has my back
Donna, that is
more
so
than
spot
anybody
on.
else in my life. Yep. Yep. I,
100%.
That's so
it's
spot
hard to
on.
trust. Isn't it hard to trust human people?
Yeah.
But I trust spirit. I trust what they're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Yeah.
trust them because they keep. Now, there's something between our expectations and forcing it, trying to make it happen. And then when it doesn't unfold the way we thought them say, we get angry at them and go, "You misled me." That's happened to me a couple of times.
Art of
But
allowance.
it's not that they've misled me. It's that I interpreted the meaning or the outcome and tried to manage that outcome. I tried to force it. And so I've learned to kick back and just, okay, if you guys say so. You know, you're not going to have to worry about not having connectivity with Andromeda 7 because your machines are getting old. Something's going to happen and you'll find what you need. You'll get what you need. And the little song comes in. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
Rolling Stones.
You know,
Yeah, and I
that's
love
what
how
happens,
Spirit does
you know?
that. Yeah.
It does,
Mhm.
and that came true for me. I got something out of the blue that I wasn't expecting, and thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. Let me tell you really
They use people in various ways. Go ahead, Lori. It was
well.
pretty cool. Wow.
What happened was I had an older laptop that had just been collecting dust, and she was expressing how she needed a new laptop, and I knew your situation. I knew what was going on,
Yeah.
and so when I
Yeah.
went to my guides, I said, I'm part of the universe as well. Can't I be the one that makes that happen? And Eric's like, absolutely, you can. I said, done. I will do it. And so I did. And I kept telling her, don't worry about it. The universe has you. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
You'll get everything.
I didn't
Oh, I
know.
have to save for this. I need to know what to get for that. And la 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 la. And I go, none of that matters. You just got to let that go. Trust in the universe, right? Do you truly trust in the universe? And she's like, yeah. And I mean, really trust in the universe. Do you? And she's like, yeah. Well, a few days later, here's your new laptop and you're all
Yeah.
taken care of. And I did my job
Nice.
just as the universe does the job. So that was
Nice.
interesting.
Yeah.
But that's
So
just
they
the
work.
belief and faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
They
Teresa.
work through other people to, there's so many ways they can bring something about. It's not always in the way you think it is.
Right.
Here I was counting beans and worrying about money and writing down all these details of how to get the best deal. And I'm like, push. It's like, Lori's just like, well, you let go. Well, of course she was. She was the one.
I knew. And it's just like spirit. So that's the example I'm trying to give you is that's how
Yeah.
spirit works with you in tandem. It's like, look, we
Yeah.
see what's going on. We know you're going to get it. So just relax. And
I
that's
should
a
have
really
known
difficult
because
thing to do when you're human. Because
I
you're
should have
always,
known
it's about
because
expectations.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happened to me this summer because I didn't think I'd get out to see Sophia or Camp Chesterfield or Brian
And you
or
did.
anybody and all of a sudden, Karen,
Mm-hmm.
they just use different people to help you in different ways. And Brian made that trip well worthwhile. I was worried about places to stay and his mom. It's just there's a flow. I think it was a Star Trek episode, Donna, that was. I don't know if you ever watched Star Trek, but there was a Deep Space Nine, and the little Ferengi guy kept trying to explain to everybody it's a flow. There's this flow, and you just put what you need in there, and it's a bartering and trade system, but it's all part of the flow, and you have to have faith that the flow is going to come out. This stream, he called it, and they were getting things left and right that they needed by giving. So they were giving, and then they were receiving, and he explained it as this stream, he called it. I forget what the name was, but it kind of reminds me of this is how spirit world operates.
So
And I
can
had to see it
interject
for
here?
myself.
Yes,
Yeah.
please, Donna.
Because I'm hearing a lot of old paradigm, and I want to shift everybody here right now into new paradigm.
Okay, let's
Sure.
do it. Let's do it.
Trusting the universe, old paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Knowing that you are the universe,
Yeah, I knew
new
that.
paradigm.
I knew that.
So putting
There you
it
go.
outside, putting all of this, okay, the universe will provide for me. Hell no. You are you are the provider. Everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So
True.
I've had so many
Your attitude.
I'm a minimalist now, but there's so many instances where I've yelled and screamed to spirit, you want me to do this, but I don't have any money to do this. And they would just yell right back at me. Well, who do you think you are to think
Yeah.
that you're in control of your money? And I'm like, I'm not in control of my money. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was almost 8 years ago. So I still have to remind myself. So we still have to put ourselves in the position that we are the universe and not think that spirit is all out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're right here.
Yes,
Everything
I
is right
agree.
here beside us, in us.
Yep.
And the word try, old paradigm, new paradigm, practice. Practice everything. Because trying to me is pass or fail.
Yeah.
Practice, because I practice as a medium. Usually I'm right on every hour I do a reading. But sure, there's times when the other person doesn't have the vibe going on, when you can tell that they are expecting something that they're not getting. So what I've learned was to sit back and say, look, I got to be honest. You're expecting something and it's blocking me. And I'll just sit there until they admit it. Because I'm going nowhere else. Spirit's not giving me anything else until they figure out their stuff.
Yeah.
And if you listen to my podcast, there is an evolution over this last year or so where spirit starts to almost like an intervention when they come through, whether it's your loved one or a spirit guide. It's an intervention for us as humans. Spirit doesn't need any other lessons. They don't need to expand anymore. We do. So the idea of good, bad, right, wrong, positive, negative, higher, lower, throw them all out the door. Every experience is for your expansion. And practice not using the words, it's good or bad. Everything. I had a really great astrologist. I followed him for years before I became a medium. And in 2014, around the middle of the year, he had said in a reading that December was going to be one of the top 10 months of my life. So I was ready for December. I was thinking, wow, I'm going to get like a crash of spirit course. I'm going to get a ton of readings. I'm really going to dive deep into this mediumship thing. But this is where I learned labeling is not expanding. So around mid-November, I got this urinary tract infection that lasted for a good month. The first week in December, I went to New York City to visit my daughter, and I fell and I broke 2 ribs. 5 days later, when I got home, it's still the first week in December, going into the second. I get home, my cat dies 2 days after I got home, unexpectedly. Day after that, I got the flu, and I was sick like a dog for 2 weeks. Couldn't go to vacation, Christmas vacation with my family. And then my best friend died out of the blue.
Goodness.
On the 29th of December. And that's how December ended for me. So I ask you, was that one of the top 10 months, Decembers of my life? In New Paradigm Thought.
Expansion's expansion, good or bad,
I still
right or
teach
wrong.
from that month. I still can talk about how much I expanded. So all my experience when I lost my 6-figure income in 2008 happened like that. One morning I woke up, I had 3 emails, my contracts were all going defunct. What? I thought I was skating through that 2008 economy tanking. Nope. Lost 3 contracts just like that. So I said, all right, I guess that's it. Within 2 years, if I didn't accept that mission of, Donna, it's time to leave Vermont. It's time to finish up this job. You're going to just stop. This is it. Within 2 years, I started seeing spirit. So we don't know when something will arrive. We don't know if anything will arrive. But sit in the uncomfortableness of each one of your present moments, because we're not always comfortable, are we?
And it
Sit in
seems
the
like,
nothingness.
and the more diverse it is, the more growth you get out of it. the harder the lesson, the more you get out of it. At least that's what
Yeah.
happened for me. And my whole world shifted and changed within a week. Boom. So I
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from, but it was complete and total expansion and growth. And
Yeah.
it did make me a much stronger person because I realized I could get through that. And it wasn't so much about getting through it as it was meeting those fears, developing skills to deal with what was going on, and then becoming stronger from it. And that's what I got out of it. So that's, I hear you say the same thing. Yeah.
We'll never
Interesting.
stop growing. We'll never
No.
stop expanding as humans. Our soul
Right.
is expansive. Our soul is expansive. Our soul right here. All my loved ones are all right here beside me. My desk doesn't exist. My house doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a dimensional thing. And that's where oneness comes in. And my definition of oneness has expanded over the years. If I go back now to my blog and I start reading things I wrote in 2014, I'm changing them. I'm editing them because I'm not saying that anymore. And that's what I expect of teachers, of gurus, of anybody that's out there in a public forum. I expect them to keep changing because there's no way you stay the same. And you want to question yourself if you're still listening to the same rhetoric from any sort of teacher, any sort of anything. If you're still listening, still reading the same book, there's not expansion.
Right.
Let's expand past what we've had. Throw away everything and start from where you are.
Exactly. And you're an infinite being. Having a human experience, you're, by the definition, infinite, are always going to be expanding and becoming something different than you were a week ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. You're not the same person. You're just not. Physically, mentally, emotionally, you're a different person. And that's the expansion and the growth. Yep. And that's what helped me get past the past, to let it go, to know that it's not going to dictate the future. Go ahead, Teresa. What's up?
Well, I like greetings, Deb Heck. I've not noticed you before. Welcome, and Courtney and all the folks that recently stepped in. I like your explanation, Donna, for your way of describing and talking about the multiverses not necessarily being in a level of different dimensions, but everything is all one. And the whole idea of oneness is this massive, just everything in one dimension, but multiple experiences and aspects of our energy. And that's a very different and unique way of looking at things, because in spirituality, in modern spirituality, we've been talking about fourth dimension, fifth dimension. How many dimensions are there supposed to be? And different epochs of time and timelines and past life regressions and on and on and on.
Human labeling.
That's all labels. I've stopped.
I
was
feel
one of
that
those.
it's one great big expanse, just like,
Yeah, that's the biggest blog that I get hits on is mine when I describe third, fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. And so that's what I went back and I said, there's no such thing anymore, guys. You can read what I've described in these types of dimensions, but it's only that you've experienced that expansion now. That maybe someone would have called, okay, this is the seventh dimension. But you're going to go back and forth, and there's always room as you expand. There's room for everybody else. Everybody lives in this one dimension. And when my spirit voices started talking, constantly talking on my recordings, that's when I started to realize, not just through mental mediumship, but they're always talking. They're always trying to get our attention. What are we going to do about it? And I'm not saying that everybody has to do anything about it. This has been my path. That's Sylvia's path. That's Laura's. Everybody's path is different. And what I love about social media is I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
Yes,
indeed.
Nobody's forcing you to turn on my channel or look at my YouTube or look at my
Absolutely. Yeah.
What have these EVPs and this new way that you've been learning of? Go ahead, Lori. You know what I'm going to ask.
Yeah. So that was my next segue into it was I find it absolutely fascinating that you're getting into the eclipse, voice eclipse that you call them, and some people call them EVPs. But the voice eclipse is interesting because it denotes a sense of boom, being right there.
Yeah.
Here it is.
That's what an eclipse is, right? Here's
Yeah,
this, and now
exactly.
here comes
It comes, it
spirit.
goes, yeah, and
Yep.
it's there. So,
So where do you think I got that word eclipse?
hmm,
Do you think I made it up?
wasn't a car driving by, was it?
No.
The dictionary.
Webster's
Okay,
Dictionary.
yes. Now that's another interesting thing you do.
So
I've
wait,
seen you do
let's
that.
talk about the eclipse. So
All
I'm
right,
sitting
let's hear.
here
Uh-huh.
about 8 months ago, and I'm like, Spirit,
Uh-huh.
I don't like EVP.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize everybody knows the word EVP. Not everybody, but there are a lot of people that have no idea what that means. So I said, I'm going to start a new paradigm word, and I'm going to start saying spirit voice something, spirit something. Let's ask spirit. So I close my eyes, I spin the dictionary. Spirit, give me another word for this EVP crap that I'm doing. Eclipse. They gave
I
it to
love
me.
that.
They
Yeah.
gave it to me. And
Yep.
what the definition is when one light body eclipses another light body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are
Most
we?
definitely.
What are they?
Yeah.
What we are.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Well,
I'm
That's exactly what
practicing putting
occurs.
that out there as spirit voice eclipse, but it's not catching on. Let's catch it. It's
It
like
will.
the fanny packs coming back. Let's catch it
Yeah,
back.
fanny pack.
Let's bring that into the new paradigm.
Yeah, and nobody wears it. I'm behind.
Nobody wears it anymore.
Yeah, well, it's
So true.
It doesn't seem to matter if it's electronically
Mm-hmm.
communicated or through thought or even through audibles, because some of us do get audibles from time to time. So, but it's like two ships passing. That's where the eclipse comes in, because it's fleeting. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. I used to go on these investigations, and I'd have my device with me and my cameras and all the goodies. Energy drain. I walk through an area that's heavily surrounded by spirits. They're all trying to tap into the energy, and all my batteries go dead at one time. Camera, recording device, REM pods, you name it, everything in my sack. Take all the other batteries, swap them out, go a little bit further, they're all drained a second time. So you've passed through this barrier, and it's not really a barrier.
Yeah.
Because if you just put down all that stuff and you just stand there and just breathe and let them in, you can hear them. You can hear messages and you can ask questions and you will get responses through thought, with or without the use of devices. Now, the devices help because sometimes they're saying things and we can't pick them up on human frequency. And when we play them back later, it's like, oh, wow, they had a lot more to say than I thought they did.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
it's interesting.
it's that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting that you when you're doing the eclipse of spirit eclipse, that voice that comes through, and you're actually able to record it, play it back, remove static, get to the crux of what the message is. To me, that's fascinating because just as I know some of the people in the audience know this, but I heard my father say my name a few days after his death, and he shouted my name in my ear, and I had this earbud in, and I was listening to a podcast, and it overshadowed the podcast and blared it right into my head, and I heard his voice, and it was a digital simulation of his actual voice. Like I recognized my father's voice, and he was shouting at me, trying to get me to realize that he was there, that he was right there, that he hadn't gone anywhere. And that really affected me because it made me realize that it's true. All of it is true, and they are right there. So I always have this really wonderful feeling and understanding that they're never far away from me. They're just right there. And that was fascinating to learn that. firsthand and having proof.
Right. And here's
So,
another thing that is new paradigm, because when I first started, when I first heard my first voice, I was in my bedroom in the dark, down on the floor doing some yoga. And then I was just recording, just having fun with my mother in the world of spirit. And when I went and played it back, I saw a spike and I went, oh, what's that? And I amplified it a little bit and it was voices. But I was so afraid to come out of my bedroom, out of the darkness. When I finally said, Donna, you know, they must be talking everywhere. I came out into my living room in the light and they were still doing it. I'm like, thank the Lord that I don't have to always be in a seance, in a meditation, or in a dark space. Now, I'm not, again, I want to say, there were a lot of people doing this before me. Social media now, I want to put it out there so that everybody can know that this is possible. But let's go back to Konstantin Raudovi. And we're not going to talk a lot about him, but famous guy who did a lot of this work. And then he died and he came through to other people to say how to do this work. For a few months, I was thinking, why can't you guys do what you did last month? Because you responded, you said your name. When I asked you, you said this. Why isn't that happening now? And I've been asking that question. And then someone sent me a recording of a seance that happened with Konstantin Raudovi. Wasn't that many years ago. And it's online somewhere. And someone in the group asked that question. And Konstantin says from the world of spirit that the fabric of this planet causes many things to not happen. So they're not talking about spirit. They're laying it on us as the humans. Whether it's you don't believe it, whether you're grieving so much of the loss of your loved one that you can't hear them. Because I've heard many stories where the loved one came through to someone else and then had to tell the one grieving, well, how come they didn't come to me? Because the fabric of your vibration wasn't allowing that.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
new paradigm, let's all get grip on it is about us and everything that we are doing. I don't need to sit with 50 other people, not saying that I wouldn't want to, but I don't have to. I don't have to go into an old prison. I don't have to go into a ghost place because I don't want to. Not
Me either.
discounting anybody that does that. If they want to do it, that's great.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
want to do it right
No
here in
thanks.
my house where, like Sophia said, I trust my gatekeeper and I trust that whatever's going to come through is for me. And if I'm reading a client, it's for them.
Yeah. So, folks, Donna's got some really interesting EVPs, so I would suggest turning up your volume a bit. And I'm going to let her play some of the EVPs that she's collected, and then we'll just kind of check them out and see what you think about it. Before you play anything, though, I want to up your mic a bit.
Volume, up the
Yeah,
volume.
so I'm going to up it, up. Okay, you're all set. You go for it.
So these are in no particular order.
Okay.
Some I received 8 months ago, some I received maybe just last week. But I want to say if I saved all of them, I would have thousands. You can't. We were
Yeah,
talking
literally.
before. You just can't save them all unless they're really clear.
Quick question for you, Donna.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are most of these during a session you've had with your clients while you're doing a reading, or are a lot of these just on your own, just listening to what's coming in from spirit?
All different ways. When I first started and heard them, it was just me. Then I heard them when I was doing a podcast, or beginning stages of my podcast, and my producer and editor, my sister at the time, I didn't realize, and she didn't tell me because she didn't know, she was editing out all the weird sounds. And until I said, oh my gosh, I think something, I listened to one of them, it's spirit. She said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've been getting rid of all those sounds. So now I record at least 3 times a day with just me. And I just let them talk. I ask a question, but they could care less about my question. They want to say something to me.
They have their
Yeah.
own agenda. Is that what you're
They
saying?
have their agenda. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
what Teresa and Lori, we heard from somebody's talked about Jesus and and Peter, and we
Yep.
went on a deep dive with that one, and that was
Yeah.
literally
Yeah, we did.
1-2 seconds of a
And
clip.
Kennedy and John Kennedy. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
John Kennedy said some fabulous things too. So if I'm
Yeah.
reading a client, it's going to be a short reading. It's 10 or 15 minutes. I will do mental mediumship, and then I will make a point where I'll say, Joe, can you say something to your loved one right now? And I'll pause. And then I'll go through all of the pauses during that reading. So in answer to your question, Teresa, it happens all the freaking time. The other night I tried doing it on my phone. I just recorded a voice memo, emailed it to myself, put it up on Audacity, and went, oh, we'll do it that way too. Go figure.
I suggest too that the panel hits their mute while this is going on, so there's no interference. We just want to limit as much as possible. So I'm going to mute. And Donna, I'm going to let you play your EVPs.
Okay, I'm going to play them all one after another, and I'll just talk a little bit about what they're saying and what they came through, and you guys can ask questions later. This first one was done on 11/11, November 11th, and I had this, huge video I did about numbers and sequences, but I said, I'm not really sure. Is this a portal? Is 11 such a big thing to spirit? And then I recorded this that very day. So the beginning and the end are a bunch of just spirits talking. That's the way it sounds. And then someone else chimes in with a very loud 11. I'll play it one more time. This one is one of my spirit guides is also Anne Frank. And I was reading for a woman, a spirit voice eclipse reading. She was living in Germany. And somewhere in between the blank spaces, Anne says her name once, and it doesn't come clear. And then she says it again. So you'll hear a very quick Anne, and then Anna. And this is very common, that they'll say something once, and they'll say to themselves, crap, didn't work. They'll do it immediately again. And I actually, when this happened one time, I forget what the person was saying. They tried it again. Then they finally got it. And I heard them say, there, I did it. That's Anne Frank saying her name. I love this. And this one is, I've edited this same 3 or 4 words, 2 different ways, because sometimes people have asked, is it a female? Is it a male? Again, we're speaking human terms, not soul terms. And however I edit, it can sound male or female. So I always say, I don't know who it is unless they say their name. So this is 2 different ways, edited 2 ways. Saying the same thing. I heard at the beginning, wow, it's almost there. I'll play it one more time. So see, changing pitch and tone, you can make it sound like a male or a female.
And when you were doing the one for Anna, when she said her name, it sounded more authentic as a German person would pronunciate the name. So I thought that was interesting.
Exactly. And the person I was reading said that's exactly how we would say her name here. Mm-hmm. And it turned out these are all synchronicities, but all things you have to look at for confirmation that the person I was reading and where Anne Frank was born was about 40 minutes apart.
Interesting.
When this first started, this happened November of 2022. I spent a couple of months over the holidays, didn't do any recording. And then I went to New York City. I was living with my daughter, staying with my daughter for a little bit. And I started speaking to and playing. I'm a fan of the Judds, Naomi and Winona Judds. I'm playing her song, Love Can Build a Bridge. And I'm saying, wow, Naomi, she had just crossed a few months before. Naomi, that is exactly what we're doing here. We're building a bridge between you guys. And the only way to do that is through love. It's the only way to do that. So I started talking to her during my spirit voice, and I asked her to say her name. So this clip is me first saying her name and then her saying her name. Can you hear that well enough?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. So the second one, her voice comes in a little bit faster. You can tell the difference between my voice and her voice. And there's nothing in between. I didn't take me saying it and then her saying it 5 minutes later. This was exactly right after. I said, Naomi,
In
are
real
you
time.
here? Naomi, and then she said her name.
Got it.
So I like to test, right? These are my tests. But that happened very early on. I was very excited over that. This one is George Bernard Shaw. He came to me 10 years ago in a direct voice in my bedroom one night, just in the corner, way up in the ceiling, just shouted his name and said, "This is George Bernard Shaw, Bernard Shaw." And I was awake and I said, "And what else?" 10 years later, here he says his name. The first thing at the beginning, it's almost like a hey. That is what you'll hear a lot when they first try to enter. It'll be either a click or a weird sound before they actually get the full.
And he said
phrase
Barnard.
out.
The way he said his name, Barnard.
They said he said his name George Bernard, not George Bernard. George Bernard. To me, it doesn't make a difference. But someone messaged me somewhere on my social media when I shared this. They said, George, he never used George because he didn't like his father. And she went into this whole spiel about that can't be him because he never used his name that way. And I responded back, well, this isn't for you. It's for me. And if he had just said Bernard, I would have thought it was my friend Bernie, who died a long time ago.
Yeah, how do you know which Bernard it is? Yeah.
So I did that. This is one of those times where they came through with a message for the world. Now, it happens more than once. This one happened back, I want to say July. And it was a random voice in the middle of a reading. I happened to be reading my niece. She didn't care about the spirit voices. She wanted the mental mediumship. So for the whole hour, I could hear spirit while she was talking. And in my head, I'm going, you guys got to stop. You guys got to give it. So sometimes they will be that loud. Other times I have to go back. But this is a warning. And it didn't make any sense until months later when all the fires started, Hawaii happened, the tornadoes, the flooding, and then the war. This happened before all of that. It almost sounds like a big speaker that would happen in your town, yelling out, take cover, take cover. They're warning us what's coming. Can they do anything? No, but they're warning us. That was one. I have many clear ones, but this is definitely one of my clearer ones. Can you guys hear it?
Let's hear it again.
Yep.
I'm just not getting it. I'm not hearing anything
Global warning.
Global warning, yes.
Oh, yeah. I hear the global.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear awning or awning, but you don't hear the what sound.
So this will happen with spirit. Sometimes they'll say one word. They're trying to say a phrase. They'll say one word. The second word will completely cut out. The third word will be clear. Fourth word completely cut out. So yeah, sometimes you have to put in your little bit in there. But this to me was very clear.
Let me ask you something, Donna.
Yep.
what was the context of this message?
Nothing.
Did it
Nothing.
mean something to you? Were you talking about nuclear
Nope.
war? Were you talking
Nope.
about anything in particular?
Nope. This was just during the reading with my niece. It was about an hour and a half long, and they just didn't shut up. I have many different things from that reading. Had nothing to do with what we were saying. They were just using my recording.
So could it be, this is just a question, could it be they're not responding to anything pertinent to the discussion or the reading for that client or something that you're thinking about, but they're having a conversation in whatever time, wherever they are, they're having a conversation just like we're having this right now? Can you imagine if they're sitting there going, who are those four people going yickety yakety about this, that, the universe and global? See, could it just be that you just stumbled across or picked up that they're not deliberately trying to manipulate that device to bring a message through, but that somehow your device is picking it up?
That was my question. This happened before I started getting the full sentences and the full phrases and below the static. This was early on where I didn't have to do anything to it. It was just there. But when I started receiving the full-blown sentences and conversations and they were talking above each other, there's 4 or 5 people talking, that was my question. Are they talking to us or are they just talking amongst themselves?
Yeah. Well, we called them spirits, but maybe they're not spirits. Maybe they're just another incarnation or aspect of different cells and a different, what we call timelines. But if it's all one expanse, they're just, everything's happening everywhere at once.
It could absolutely be that.
Maybe a lot of these aren't even spirits. Maybe they're just other beings.
But so now you're leading to this again, human words. What does spirit mean? So I don't even want to use that word anymore. I'm just saying that they're all around us talking. We don't know where they are. We don't know what dimension. But if we can look at things more that it's all one dimension, I don't have to ask that question, because you heard with a lot of the other ones where they would mumble, mumble, mumble. Then there'd be something for us that we could make out. Mumble, mumble, mumble. Like the 11 one at the beginning. Mumble, mumbling. 11, shut up. I want to talk now. 11. But they have to talk louder, like Laura, your dad did. He had to talk louder because he was probably talking over a lot of other people. Human word.
Yeah,
human word.
Right.
I don't know.
Max Vision, this is interesting because, and I always like to do a balanced approach to this stuff. He says so many possible words could kind of fit. And I agree with you. You can hear, different words. And then when you're told what it sounds like, then it kind of fits. So in your mind, in your human mind, you're still trying to get that definitive answer, but some of us don't need that definitive answer. It's really
because there's so much coming through. There's only so much coming through. So when I'm speaking with a client and I'm trying to get their loved one in, yes, I'm going to say, can you say your name? Can you say your client's name? Believe me, every time I record, I'll say, okay, who wants to talk today? Say your name. Or like the other day was the anniversary of my dad's crossing. And I said, Dad, do you have anything to say? And he said, I love you so much. But every day I don't do that. I just record and I just like, okay, say what you want to say. Because there's just so much. And this one time they said my name a lot. Wow, Donna, so good. Donna, thank you. And this one time they actually said my first and my last name, because people were like, well, maybe it could be any Donna. So I'm like, all right. I never asked for my first and last name, but here's where they said my first and last name.
Okay.
Could you hear that?
I heard the first part, but
I've been listening to this for over a year. So if anybody's just starting here to listen, I would suggest go to any of my social media and look and listen and start to train your ear, because take.
It's subtle. Yeah, it's definitely subtle.
All right, so these are just some basic phrases and clips of different phrases. Let's see.
Do you have the one with John Kennedy talking about
I
some things are just
do.
impossible? That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Sophia, what do you think about this? Somebody's made a comment here. Does Sophia have anything to say? Deb
Oh,
Heck,
boy.
thank you. She has
Thanks,
plenty
Deb.
to say. Go for it.
I like what Donna has to say. It's about intention, setting your intention, taking actions and steps. Words have power. What you say is very important, along with how you say it. There's a lot of good information. I'm glad we're talking about this subject because it's important. I don't know. Don't put me on the spot. Just kidding.
Any way that spirit comes, I think.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
everything is changing. Why wouldn't this change?
Yeah,
We're not driving the
Evolvement.
same cars we drove 20 years ago.
true.
Spirit has been sitting around waiting for us.
Right?
Yeah,
I agree
pretty
with
much.
that.
Yeah, I totally agree with
They're
that.
like, when are they going to get that
I just-
computer thing down? When are they going to start getting that
Well,
Zoom thing down?
yeah.
When is that coming?
Mhm.
TikTok, you guys, TikTok.
I think they've expanded along with the rest of us. It's all one consciousness. There's the unified consciousness of the oneness, and we've all learned together, and so have they. And as you said, there's no veil anymore. We've come to this point in our evolution where it's more thin, where it doesn't exist at all. And so we are completely surrounded by all those other energies.
Mhm.
They never leave entirely, just the physical body leaves,
Mhm.
but the consciousness doesn't.
Right, and regardless, it's still fascinating
It's,
Yeah.
and it's
to
whoever-
just even think that. Go ahead.
it's what you want to do in your life.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people that aren't interested in this at all. I am just ecstatic about it
Mhm.
Right?
because
Me too.
it's what for 20 years that I've just lived this. Again, I didn't ask for it. It's just
Yeah.
here. So what do I do with it? Well, I better start sharing it. So that's what I'm doing. And because of social media, we can give it more to a bigger class. All right. So I'm going to do the JFK one. Okay. I think this
All
is the
right.
one where
Sounds good.
we've edited enough so you can hear it. But good luck with this one because it took us many different tries to hear this one. Okay. That was the full one. And the part we heard was just this part. It was always so difficult. What did we decide? It was always so difficult to change something.
Yes, it was always so difficult to change the unbelievable or the
It's a tough one to hear that last because those last two words kind of faded out.
Mm-hmm.
And in this respect, I was
The impossible.
something about the impossible. I was speaking to John at this point, JFK at this point. So that's how I know it's him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, were you asking him about his death?
I was asking him. I just finished listening to the podcast, the latest podcast on who killed JFK, and I learned some new things. And I was like, JFK, what do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about this one? And my impression was his challenge during his lifetime to get other people to see his viewpoint in the present and not look at, well, if we don't do it this way down the road, this is going to happen. And he was so focused on
Mm-hmm.
this moment. And, you know, it was emotional for him because
Yeah.
I'm all about the emotions, and that's how they connect with me. So to me, it was a very emotional.
When you played that on Facebook, I picked up on that energy too, and I kept playing it over and over and listening to it with my noise cancellation headsets. And the only thing I could conclude with it, and we talked to Lori about it too. Lori pitched in on this too, and that is that he was trying to do so many things. He's like, it's hard to get, it's so difficult to get people to understand what they seem to think is impossible. So much so that he got killed for it.
Yes.
That's what he was
Yes.
saying. It was always so difficult for me to try to do the impossible. And he got killed for it. And that's what he was telling you. And that's how I picked it up. And I think Lori did too. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Both
sure.
came through
Yep.
the-
Yep. Pretty sure he
Yeah.
knew it was coming, just as Lincoln knew it was coming. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Incredible. Yeah.
And Lincoln wasn't afraid of it. He was like, hey, I'm
Okay,
not going to show any fear.
There's two
'Cause he
things
believed.
here.
Right.
Two things here, Donna. Dolly Belfour, she's in the chat room. I wonder how they like being addressed. To separate themselves from other spirits or entities, Alpha, Phi, Kappa, sorority-like identifiers, maybe. That's a different way, an old way of thinking, right?
Yep, it's a great question. And I know when Abe Lincoln first came through, I was very nervous about what I was going to call him. Did I call him Abe? Did I have to call him President Lincoln? Did I have to call him
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Lincoln? And it was always I was always thinking that in my head. And then I went to see a medium, and the first thing this medium said was, you know, Abe's here, and he wants to tell you it doesn't matter what you call him.
Because he knows who he is.
That was one of my questions. And
Yeah.
again, we're looking like, as a medium, this is where you're going to go the difference here. As a medium, and Sophia would understand this too, right? And you guys both understand. The way souls or entities or things come through to me, I can tell the difference. Are they a soul that had a life on this human world, in this human world? Is this an entity that had a life in another planet? Because I've channeled many entities that never were human, but I can tell that. That's my practice. So I don't like to call them, I just call everything spirit in these days. Anything that is not in this human world with me in this moment is spirit. Whether they're living in another dimension, a Donna from another planet. Donna could be talking to me. We don't know. Donna from another dimension could be talking to me during his recording.
I've experienced that.
Yeah. There's just way too many voices to think there's only one person or one soul. But I think we really, new paradigm, get out of thinking human terms.
Yeah.
And understanding that we're here to accept our role as a human in this lifetime. That's what we're here for. And the learning never stops. And yes, there's grief, and yes, there's great pain. And Spirit said, one of my favorite lines from Spirit is, we can bring you comfort in times of great need, but we cannot take away the great need. So everything that's happening, I don't say, take it away, Spirit. I don't want to feel this, Spirit. I can't say that. I say, show me what I need to do. Show me I'm ready to handle this.
Yeah. Sophia, do you get it that way too? Like, I can always tell when you are listening to spirit, even though you're quiet. It's like you're like, whoa, something's going on here. Like you're always absorbing. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm an in the moment intuitive. To begin with, I have always, like was said earlier, I had more friends in spirit than I did in the flesh, and I trusted spirit more than I did the humans around me. But yeah, you can feel, at least when I'm working with an individual spirit, it's like the gravity changes around me. At least that's how I feel it, because instead of I hear, because I do hear, just not audibly, but I know I'm very clairsentient, claircognizance. So it's a knowing and a feeling. I mean, I have all the clairs available, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's working with different energies. It's just
They just
approaching
cut.
them with respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, talk to them like you would talk to yourself if you're healthy. That
Mm-hmm.
that's how I do it. Um, but I just think it's interesting because it is all about the evidence. It is about proving the continuity of life. It's about healing. It's about service. It's about, you know,
Yeah.
I'm in what's called bonus years. I didn't plan being around this long, okay? I really didn't. And if I'm gonna be here, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be, you know, in gear and making this world a better place. Energy's neither created or destroyed, it just moves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I've been shifting energy when I feel it needs to shift, but just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Yeah.
So it's
User.
responsibility.
Yeah. Responsibility. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're just hearing these voices for the first time. If I had heard them before I became a medium, I'd be like, oh, that's freaky. But now they're just second nature to me. I'm like, yeah, that's just the way they sound. They are trying. They're practicing human words. They're
Mm-hmm.
not human.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk fast because the other dimensions are doing this around us.
Oh,
Yeah, kind of
actually,
like the
that.
speed of a fan. You know, when the fan speeds, you don't
Very
see those
fast.
propellers. You
Yep.
just know that it's in
Well,
movement. Yeah.
they're challenged enough as it is to try to manipulate the frequencies just
Mm-hmm.
to so that we can get the audible. So sometimes it, I think we have a predisposition uh, through I guess the old terminology is programming, but through the experiences of how we were raised in our environment and social activities and social media to think that anything that sounds like this is evil.
Right.
When it might just be a modulator. Just think of a voice modulator on a radio or on another communication device and play around with those different frequencies. And you might get this instead.
Right.
That doesn't sound evil, does it? But it could be the Wicked Witch.
Sophia, go ahead. Please.
One thing that I try to bring forward information that I would have found helpful, you know, when I was kind of navigating the dark back in the 80s. Shh,
Mm-hmm.
not my age. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, when you're working energetically, making sure that you're properly hydrated, you're in a good mindset, you have correct intention. Um, and it's like when they're like, "Oh, let's go ghost hunting," and then they go to a cemetery, but they have no family in there. It's like, and that's what I liked at the beginning of the show. We were talking about credit, you know, and for me,
Yeah.
it's spiritual credit. If you're
Uh-huh.
going to interject your energy, you know, sometimes you need to vet the situation and get to know the energy. It's like the past mediums at Camp Chesterfield. It was like one at a time they started stepping forward, and every time one would step forward, I'm like, well, hi, nice to meet you. You know, you just because
Yeah.
they don't have a physical body, for someone like me and other mediums, it can be just as precious and just as fulfilling as a relationship as somebody who's in the flesh, because they
Mm-hmm.
can communicate on a different level that most humans, they're capable of, but they haven't unfolded that gift. So, and I feel that's why we're here, because if we're capable and we practice and we meditate and we journal and, you know, we contemplate, we absorb, you know, the positive, and don't stay attached to the outcome. That was half of my problem back in the day, because you raised with all these sitcoms that, oh, Johnny scraped his knee, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
something to do with the neighbor. And then in half an hour, everybody's eating cake and yay,
Yeah.
that was cool, you know.
Right.
So you
Right.
start thinking that's how life really works. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started working energetically, it's like, don't be attached to the outcome. For my highest and best or something better. And just, I'm just glad to be off the bench and in service. because I spent a lot of years trying to destroy myself, and I'm sure glad that my joy guide decided to be like, we can't give up on her, guys. She'll snap out of it eventually.
Get her back out there.
Yeah, and I did.
We're very glad too, Sophia.
Thanks.
I think it's a pretty common theme to people like you and I, Sophia, that, and I'm not sure about Lori's past, Patricia's past. I went through a lot myself, and I didn't start seeing spirit till I was 50. But I had a ton of crap before that.
Yeah.
A lot of therapy, a lot of dream analysis, a lot of work on myself. So when I take in a student, I don't care what they can do right now. I don't want to know. I'm going to take you back to square one. I'm going to take you back. What's your mind doing? What are you hearing about yourself? Because spirit, they know. They're going to tell me. So everything that happens, I say, I remove myself, and it's just spirit. So everything that comes out of my mouth is being led by spirit. It's their voices. So I think, and I'm not going to say that my life still is hunky-dory. I have my moments.
Sure.
Where
We all do.
I'm like, why am I still here again? What am I doing again?
What's this all about?
Yeah.
And then I go back to, two things that spirit said to me, and I go back to them continuously. The first one was about money, because I'm a minimalist and I've gotten rid of everything at this point. And the second one was, I was complaining again about something to spirit, and they chimed in with, Donna, no one owes you anything.
Right? Oh, I love it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's true.
Came in with nothing.
No one owes you
nothing.
That's right.
Right.
So it may work about 98% of the time. It works completely. And then you back off. You're just like, as soon as you say that to yourself, you're like, yeah, you're right. No one owes me a click on my link. No one owes me a like on any of my things. Now, the guy that just fixed my car owes me something. That's different. But as soon as I say, if I'm in direct mode of, I really am desperate for something, desperate for that guy to give me that receipt that he owes me, I have to sit down and no one owes you anything. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Even though someone may owe you something,
it's a great reminder.
You're pushing yourself into future when you say, give me. When you say, no one owes you anything, it makes you sit back and say, yep, you take a deep breath, you drop your shoulders.
Yeah, that's true. I love that. That's amazing.
So I've given you my two favorite phrases from spirit. I've never given them to anybody else. You all have them now.
Wow. And I will use it. Cool. Yes, I will use it.
Thank you, spirit.
Well, you've had some very profound revelations and conversations with, like when Jesus of Nazareth came through and started talking about, or a spirit came through and said, as Jesus believed, so did Peter too. It's just that you're getting confirmation from them. So I go back to your statement much earlier when you said they're like intermediaries, because they were working with you on something there. They were trying to give you reassurance, trying to lift you, because you heard the Jesus and Peter reference.
Then I Googled, because I had no idea who Peter was, even though I was raised Catholic. And I immediately went down that rabbit hole. What was Jesus to Peter? What was Peter to Jesus? I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
It helped me. And I won't share anything until I figured it out. Everything that comes to my scope is for me. And if it works for other people, then I'll post it and send it away. But I'm still learning.
Well, listen,
things I posted in 2012, still learning from.
Yeah. And you will continue to learn from.
Yeah, and these little handheld devices, they're not much bigger than a cell phone. In fact, mine's smaller than a cell phone. You can buy them. They're quite compact. You can take them anywhere. You can take them out to a field, sit under a tree, and just relax when there's not a whole lot of noise around, not a lot of traffic. You
little recorders you're talking about.
Take a little recorder and sit it on the ground, just lay there, and something will come through. And you will pick up something, and you can ask a question. You can make it audible or not, or a thought. or just empty your mind. Don't think of anything. And sometimes you can do the same thing you do with
Experiment.
meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, experiment, play with it.
Experiment, play with it, see what you get. Yeah.
Play it back.
Yep.
You know?
See
I
what
have a
you think.
Ask
suggestion.
a question. Talk to
Yeah.
your loved
Yeah.
one.
There you go.
Yeah, Sophia.
I would say I have caught the coolest things after I drum or do some kind of meditation. Raising the vibration around you will attract more productive conversations.
Yeah.
We want evidence, we want clear evidence, we want good evidence, we want helpful information. So if you set your intention and raise your vibration, you can aromatherapy if it's safe, candles, even to the point to making like a sacred meal. If it's just you can be as simple as what chat's saying. And I love that because I'll overthink something if I'm not careful. I know my propensity to do that. See, Chloe, what? That's girl. But just setting intention, raising the energy. You don't have to have a group of people to do it, and just expect positive things to happen.
Yeah.
So let's go one step further with that you're actually expanding everything around you. So you're either working on yourself, continually working on yourself. So Spirit says, oh, they're listening. Let's go there.
Right.
And you could also change the vibration of the place around you by singing, by drumming, by meditating.
Incense.
Bring some wind chimes, perhaps.
Drums, anything will change the vibration around you. But it's not high or low. It's expansive. It's expanding the vibration. So I don't ever want to tell someone, oh, you must have had a lower vibration if you couldn't do it. If it couldn't happen, if you didn't hear from your loved one. All it means is it's hard to explain. But when you let go of all that shit that held you down, and I'm not saying I didn't have shit that held me down, I did, and I still do now, but I recognize it. I recognize, oh, that wasn't Donna, that was some other Donna talking. I need you to come over here and say that to me again, because I didn't like what I just heard. So I'm putting all stuff outside of me so I can have a conversation with it.
Yes.
Because I don't want to judge myself. And I don't want to judge anyone else around me. It is all about me. It is all about you doing the work for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Well, you guys, we are an hour and a half into the show. It's been going by really quick. It's been fascinating discussion. At this point, I'd like to get some final thoughts. Sophia, I'll go with you first. Any final thoughts on tonight's show and what we experienced here?
It's the same old rinse repeat. Set your intentions, have the courage to take action, to use the emotion and the intuition to bring the fruition. It's energetic math. I love the content that Donna has brought this evening. Thank you so much.
It's refreshing
for hanging out with us. I really enjoy getting to know you, and I are not too dissimilar.
I feel the same way.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yep.
Told you there's synergy here. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, and it's nice to talk about things like this. This content's important.
Free and open space, no expectations, no judgment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Very nice. Yep. Teresa, final thoughts, my dear?
Yes, my dear. Keep it loose. Keep it loose. Have fun with this. You can have a lot of fun with spirit. You just let go of preconceived notions and ideas and old paradigms and old ways of thinking about things. And it's kind of like they're your friend. Most of them are your friend.
Right.
I've never come across, I think there's a lot of sensationalism out there. And that's not to say that there haven't been some entities that you communicate with that aren't so great. But for the most part, the ones that are attracted to your vibe are not those kind. The ones that are attracted to your vibe are the ones that want to vibe with you and share those moments with you. And so I've had nothing but positive results over the past, 3 years now, I haven't had anything negative come through or anything. And just have fun, experiment, try different ways. Write things down on a piece of paper and say, "Hey, can you see me? Can you see what I've written?" You know, just make a game of it and see how they interact with you, but always be respectful. That's one thing I have learned is not to box them in or do anything insulting or anything that would cause them to fear you. Be the frequency you want to receive, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Okay.
if there's time after Donna gives her final remarks, if there's time, I do have a little reading, and it is actually something from Donna, and I thought it was beautiful, and we could share it tonight if we have time.
Sure. You bet. You bet. Don, final thoughts for you?
Yeah, I got to go with, again, everything is for you. So no matter what comes through, because I've had a negative entity come through,
I have
dressed
too.
as a little girl.
Mhm.
And what I did was simply tell her I loved her. And
That's
drew
what I
her
did.
in and asked
Mhm.
her what she needed from me. So
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
first I would say, if you're doing any of this type of work, set up a gatekeeper. You can Google
Yes.
that or ask Sophia at another time.
Mhm.
Set up a gatekeeper.
Mhm.
And then understand that everything that does come through is for you. And I've had some things that didn't sound so great that I heard immediately on my spirit voices. And I just said, how can I help you with that?
Mhm.
And I said, no, there's other people there that can help you. You don't have to be alone. Because I'm sure things are coming through that are like, oh, I see Donna, she's a light. I want to ask her something. I want to bring her the way I feel. When
That's
I bring
right.
through souls from the non-physical world, I don't know, it's all so different. Everything is
Mhm.
different. I can't do stinging bowls. I can't do anything that does that vibration because it hurts my physical body. But
Mhm.
everybody is
Yeah.
different, but we're all one in the oneness. Everybody is different, but we all expand in the oneness. There's no negative because that's duality, but it doesn't mean stuff doesn't hurt. Remember my December month? It
Yes.
hurt a lot.
Yes.
But it was
Oh yeah.
very expansive. It was very expansive.
Mhm.
And not everybody is going to want to talk about what you're going through.
Yeah.
Not
True.
everybody has
Very
the
true.
time because they're so
Mhm.
busy. And
Yeah.
I struggle the most with that because I don't have people around me. They're
True.
always everybody's so busy. Even when I say I need someone to talk to, they're
Mhm.
always so busy. And one of the biggest things Spirit will bring through is stop, slow down,
Mhm. And
slow down.
nobody owes you nothing.
Nobody owes you anything. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hit me in the head with that one. Nobody owes you
Well,
anything.
no doubt there's a lot to unlock and unfold for our own expansion, but wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And I really appreciate everybody's time and energy on this tonight. And just so much gratitude and thankfulness. And I hope everyone in chat got something out of it as well, just to understand how these spirits, how they work, and what you can achieve when you really believe something and when you embrace it and know the truth. When you know the truth, that's expansion right there. Yeah. Anyway, Teresa, you want to go ahead and read that statement, and then we will say goodnight.
Yep. And just right before I read it, just know that you can contact Donna by checking out our description on YouTube. She has one of those trees that leads you to all of her different
Link tree.
platforms, link
A
tree,
link tree.
and you go down and she's everywhere. She's all over social media. So tons of
Facebook,
followers. Facebook. She's got what 7,000.
Instagram,
It's
TikTok.
just she's all over the place. So and
But all
she's
her
got a
links
couple
are
Sometimes
in the description. Yes.
you let
and
Spirit
even to
run the
her
show,
books.
and there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And even to her books. In fact, I found what I'm going to read to you very quickly here. Not as fast as the squirrel movement earlier, but
Stop it.
I saw that. You think I don't see things, but I do. All right.
That was
This
cute.
is a posting from Donna Boyle. It's one of her posts, and I was just so taken by it. It just kind of sums up this evening quite well, I think. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. As souls on this earth, we are all feeling souls. No one soul is better than the other. We are all on a path to find the connection to our true soul. We no longer have to sit in the labels of third dimension, expanding through fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. We allow duality to slip away and recognize we must sit in the only one true vibration, love. There is a separateness to what you perceive as physical body and your true soul. Duality does not exist in the expanded dimensions. You are a soul who has come here to learn and exist in a physical world, but now your soul needs to learn the next phase of this human evolution. The next lesson is we all are souls doing the same work of love, learning the same message of love, and on the same path of love. I'd like to call it love vibration. As souls, we have never reached this point in our human evolution.
True.
At this moment, there's no need to process everything that happens as we once did. And if we do, it's much quicker. Our bodies are taking on the evolution, and this could mean there are physical aches and pains. Accept and receive that your soul is evolving and the body wants to come along. Our need to pick apart and analyze everything at this point is no longer needed. Your body is affected by your state of confusion regarding what we think we still need to work on. Be present in each moment. Start by sensing what is happening in the room outside yourself. Take a deep breath and notice the sense in the room. Walk around and notice sound instead of the mind wanting to carry you away with thought. Allow your presence to be in and around your physical body for a moment. We tend to get caught in the next thing instead of appreciating the present moment and the lessons that exist here. Donna Boyle, medium.
Beautifully said. Beautifully
Nice.
said, stated.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Donna. Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Donna. Really
You're
appreciate
so
your
very
time and
welcome. It's
energy.
great to meet all of you, and thank you everyone for joining and asking your great questions and receiving this.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we hope to see more of you and interact with
Mhm.
you from time to
Yeah.
time. And we enjoyed introducing you to the community, and
Yeah.
hope there's going to be some additional opportunities to share knowledge with you. And we look forward to having you back on another
Mhm.
time.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Love and appreciation. Namaste,
Thank you.
my friend.
Thank
Namaste. All right,
Bye.
Good to see you,
everybody.
Sophia. Good
Have
to
a-
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Have a nice
Have a
weekend,
wonderful
everybody.
weekend, everyone. Yep. And thanks for being in chat. We appreciate you. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.
Thank you
Later.
again.
Bye, everybody. Take care.